Okay, so this is going to be the first video in a series of how to make your own Santa suit from a pattern. So with us big guys, it's really hard to find a pattern that's already made that's big enough for us. And plus you're dealing with paper and you got to figure out how all things line up. This is so much easier. So I paid $39 for this Santa suit. This is not the vest that came with it. This is one I've made. So what I'm going to be doing in this series of videos is I'm going to be altering this suit with like $1 a yard fabric that you can get at Walmart, or very cheap stuff that you can get at Joann Fabrics, any place that's just cheap. Because we're going to be blowing this suit apart and making it fit me. So one of the first things I do is I check my neck. I like the way this suit fits around the neck. So this suit was purchased on Amazon, $39, and it's the 3X. So it says it fits, I believe, a 63-inch chest. I have a 57-inch chest, and you can see that it just barely fits. But I like the neck. So in order to make this bigger, what I'm going to do is I'm going to split the seam that's up here on the shoulders, and then I'm going to basically go about 2 inches over, so where this red or this gold thing is, and I'm going to cut the front panels straight down. Then I'm going to take a piece of 2-inch material, my $1 a yard stuff, so it's going to be 2 inches, probably 2.5 for seam allowances. And I'm going to sew it. So I'm going to cut, then I'm going to sew the pieces all the way down, and in the back I'm going to do the exact same thing. I'm going to, in the exact same spot wherever this seam is for the shoulder, which is right here, I'm going to go over the same amount. I'm just going to say 2 inches, but the measurement might be different. So I'm going to do the same thing with the back panel of the suit and cut it straight down, and then add my 2-inch pieces of material. So these pieces of material are going to be 2 inches wide by however long this coat is, and sew them in there. If the neck wasn't big enough for me, what I would do, instead of cutting the back 2 strips down, I would cut the center here and then add a piece all the way down. So if my neck didn't fit as good as it does, if I needed to expand the neck more, I would cut down the center of the back, and then I would probably add, for me, a 4-inch piece of fabric sewn to this side and to this side all the way down. That would make the neck bigger while also widening the suit. But I like the neck the way it fits, so I will be just doing the splits down the front and down the back. Same thing with the arms. So I like long arms. These are a little short for me, and I also want a flare to the suit. So just doing these is going to widen the suit. So the way I'm going to get the flare is I'm going to do the same thing on the side, basically from the armpits. So I'm going to split the side seam, and then for me, I want it about 4 inches wider, because when I sit in the chair, it barely come about like this, and I like to have my coat, you know, really gone over. So when I split these side seams, it's going to actually add 2 inches to each side, but I want the coat to be flared at the bottom. So what I'm going to do, and I want my arms long or wider. So there's an inseam on the inside right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to split this seam that comes up the side, and I'm going to go all the way to the material here. So the length for me is pretty good. I like the length. If I had longer arms, I would pull the fur off and add what I needed to make it longer. This fur, I'm going to say, is roughly 5 inches. That's what I usually do, 5 to 6 inches. So, but I want that flare. So it's going to make it a little bit bigger. So I'm going to split this seam, and then I'm going to add a 2-inch piece of material from the cuff. I'm going to take the fur off, and I'm going to add a 2-inch piece of material all the way from here, all the way down to the bottom. So what that's going to do when I do that is it's going to give more fullness of the suit down on the bottom, and I'll have 4 inches more that will close more. Plus, when I lengthen or do the seams this way, when I cut here and add my 2 inches, so basically it's going to add 2 inches here, 2 inches here, 2 inches here, 2 inches here. So each side is going to be roughly 4 inches bigger. And that will work for me for this suit. And like I said, I'm not going to do anything with the neck because I like the way the neck feels. So after that, I like my coats a little longer. You can see how this coat just kind of goes to the top of my boot. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that fur off the bottom. Then I'm going to add probably at least 4 inches, because I like my fur, like I said, 5 to 6 inches. That will put the fur, when it's all done, down at the bottom of the fur of my boot. So I'm going to do that. So this being the first video, sorry my vest isn't fitting really good because I usually have a belt on. So this is going to be the first video in the series. Again, this is a $39 Amazon suit. I will also address the collar. I like the way the collar fits. It's not too bad. But my suit that I'm going to be making, I think I'm going to stick with this design of the collar. But I'm also going to have some 3.5-inch ribbon. It's a fabric ribbon that's kind of gold and kind of a khaki color. And it will be going across the seam where I add the bottom. And when I add the bottom to the suit, not to this suit, but the suit that I'm making, I'm going to embroider things, snowflakes and holly leaves, maybe some reindeer in that lower section that I make longer. And I'll show you how to do that in all the other videos too. The hat I didn't put on because the hat is like 10 sizes too big. That thing I can pull it clear down to my chin if I wanted to. So that's just kind of showing you also what the 3X suit off of Amazon for $39 fits. I'm 6'1", 320 pounds, 57-inch chest, 57-inch tummy, 30-inch inseam. This is another thing I wanted to show you. So this is huge. As you can see, these pants are massive. This is my tummy. This is where this thing goes out here. So I will be taking the pants in as well so that I can use them as a pattern. So to recap, I'm going to be splitting the fronts, adding 2 inches down each side, splitting the backs, adding 2 inches down each side, then splitting the side seam, adding 2 inches all the way up, all the way to the sleeve here on each side. Going to keep the original collar pretty close, and then tuck in do the pants. I'll have to make them smaller. So if you want to follow along with my videos, I'm going to be posting them on my YouTube channel, and it's just going to be entitled "Making a Santa Suit," something like that. I will post the link here, but that's kind of what it is. My material that I've chosen, and it's on its way. I've actually got 3 or 4 different samples coming from BigZFabrics.com and Fabric Empire. It's going to be a very, very dark burgundy, almost to black, but it's a burgundy. But it's very, very dark. It's very much darker than the Halco suits that you get off of Planet Santa and stuff like that. So it's very dark. And then I haven't really decided the fur yet. It might be a grayish coyote fur. It might be a brown fur. I want to do something different with this suit. I have lots of suits, as most of you know, white fur, gray fur, no fur, different boots for different ones. But I think I'm leaning towards the really dark burgundy that's almost black and possibly brown fur. So I will update you guys when that happens. But anyway, if you want to follow along, there's the link in the description to my YouTube channel. And I'm sorry this first video is so long, but anyway, I will start to alter this suit to use for a pattern. So when I sew it all back together, I'm just going to be using really big stitches on my sewing machine. That way it's very easy to blow apart, and it's nothing that's going to be structural, so I don't need it to be really durable. So that's kind of it in a nutshell, and I hope you guys follow along. Thanks for watching.